Hey guys, I'm here from Transformers and Video Games, and welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be taking a look at my 2021 Hallmark Keepsake Transformers G1 Shockwave Christmas Tree Ornament. So be sure to stick around for more. Okay, so to start things off, as always, let's take a quick look at the packaging. Now, there's nothing special about these Hallmark Keepsake boxes, particularly if you're a collector. They're just generic red and white boxes with a very small picture of the ornament inside down below. Of course, today we're going to be looking at G1 Shockwave. Flipping it around to the back side, they do talk a little bit about the artist. Here it says, Orville Wilson and his family enjoy celebrating the holidays with lots of different Christmas trees, each featuring a unique theme. There's a Santa tree, an angel tree, and a treat tree, and several others. He also likes exploring lots of different subjects and design styles in his work as a keepsake artist. Lucky for fans that love a variety means that it is always easy to find the perfect Orville ornament for any tree, no matter the theme. Let's go ahead and open this one up. Now, I'm glad to see that they're still securing these figures in a nice plastic clamshell to ensure that they arrive safe and sound. I know the very first one that I got, which was G1 Optimus Prime, just came wrapped in some tissue, so it's great to see that they've continued doing this. Out of package, we can see that Shockwave stands very well on his own. He's about 4¼ inches in height, which works out to just under 11 centimeters, and he costs $17.99 US, which works out to about $22.99 Canadian. Let's take a closer look at the figure. Now, one thing that I will say right out of the gates is that I'm a little bit disappointed in the way the eye on my specimen was painted. It's a really thin coat of gold paint. It just would have been nicer to see maybe a heavier coat of a color that had a little bit more pop to it to make it stand out a bit more. On the top of his head, you can see the loop that you'd put the ribbon through to hang the ornament from your tree. I really like the translucent purple screen on the front of the figure and the large Decepticon faction symbol in the middle. On the side there, you can see a small white Decepticon faction symbol, which is actually meant to symbolize the rub sign that was on a lot of the original G1 figures. The backpack is, of course, very G1 accurate to the figure itself, and you can see tons of molded details, which they really didn't need to do since I think most people aren't going to be looking at the backside of the figure. But again, it does make it very G1 accurate, which is, of course, very nice. They've used a really nice metallic gray paint on his upper thighs and his feet to make them look like metal. You can see a trigger on the front of the figure. Here's a better angle of it right here. Of course, for anybody who didn't grow up in the 80s or isn't familiar with the Masterpiece or one of the third-party versions of the figure, Shockwave originally transformed into an Astro Magnum laser pistol. That loop you see on the side there is a hard plastic. That was actually a flexible tubing on the original figure and something that would disintegrate over time, unfortunately. I'm pleased to see on his left hand the translucent tip that would have been the end of the laser pistol, which actually glowed due to the electronics. And his right hand is also translucent, but it's just a normal fist. Overall, I think they've done a really nice job on the figure, aside from the one issue that I mentioned earlier, which is, of course, the way the eye was painted on my particular specimen. I think it's a great representation of the character. Here's a quick comparison next to the 1980s version of Shockwave. One thing that you'll notice right away is the different color of purple that they used for the two. I feel that the Christmas tree ornament is more of an anime-accurate purple, which I think is what most collectors would have wanted, and quite honestly, what I think looks better in this particular case. Here they are next to the world's smallest robots, Military Operations Commander, produced by a third-party company called Just Die Toys. And this is, of course, an unofficial figure, but it's their version of a world's smallest G1 Shockwave. It's, of course, fully transformable, but you can see how it stacks up in size next to the Christmas tree ornament, and, of course, the 1980s version of Shockwave. Speaking of the world's smallest version of the figure, here it is in laser pistol mode next to the Christmas tree ornament, and I've actually got it a fair bit closer to the camera just because of how tiny it is. Leave me a comment in the comments section and let me know if you have any interest in me reviewing this figure at some point in the near future. For any fellow G1 collectors out there, here's a quick look at my boxed G1 Shockwave. I picked this up about 10 years ago at the height of my vintage Transformers collecting, back when you could still buy G1 figures for a reasonable price. Nowadays, unfortunately, it's hardly worthwhile trying to collect boxed vintage Transformers figures. Okay guys, I'm going to go ahead and wrap the video up right here. For anyone who has the means, I would definitely recommend picking up the 2021 Shockwave Ornament. If you're handy with a paintbrush, you could easily do a little bit of custom work on his eye to make it stand out a little bit more. But even if you didn't, it's still a very cool representation of the figure. If you like these Hallmark Keepsake Transformers ornaments and want to check out a few other ones that I've got in my collection, I've reviewed the 2020 G1 Jazz, the 2019 G1 Bumblebee, the 2018 G1 Starscream, and the 2017 G1 Soundwave ornaments previously on my channel. I've actually got all of the Hallmark Transformers ornaments that have been released so far, including G1 Optimus Prime, Megatron, and Grimlock, so let me know in the comments section if you're interested in having me review any of these other ones, and I'll see if I have time to do it before Christmas. Thanks again for watching, everyone. Take care.